Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today we actually have a post from this is from an Irish woman on TikTok named Cooking is Joyful. Um, is this her? Let me make sure. Let me be accurate. She might be Truthful is Speaking, but it's a duet, so it's hard to tell which one. But I'm gonna say her name is Truthful is Speaking on TikTok. But she pretty much she gets into um people who are mocking and making fun of Irish Americans, pretty much saying they're not Irish. And this is an interesting perspective for me to see because I don't hear about stuff like this. I do hear when a lot of people from other places say, oh, they're Americanized, they're not really from here, which I can understand why they say that, but the way she's about to go in on it, it just brings it more into perspective, and I get to understand where she's coming from. So with that being said, we're smoking all my dragons, divine righteous, almighty greats overachieving, never slacking, and we're gonna dive right into this. Here we go.
Instead of Irish Americans being able to instead of Irish Americans being able to enjoy seeing our culture on the big screen shining through in centers, you know, co-celebrating with Black America who has their culture being shown beautifully through Ryan Coogler's vision. And even though we're shown through a villain, we don't care. It's okay because it was still beautifully done. Ryan Coogler still did a phenomenal job showing our culture. He didn't disrespect it in any way, regardless of.
He did with the the Irish river dancing. Let me just make sure I'm okay. We're good with the Irish river dancing. And hold on, let me try to, cause someone the other day tried to say, oh, you know, to turn stuff up, but I'm not good with this, guys. Like I'm still pretty new at all this, but I'll try to edit and figure it out. But anyways, yeah, Ryan Coogler, he did an amazing job as far as the Irish river dancing and just um when Remick the vampire was speaking about the oppression that he's faced, he did an amazing job in showing that on the screen, which is something that I don't think we've seen before as so-called Black Americans. We haven't really seen that it intertwined with our culture in that story told in that way. So I also think that's why it's being talked about so much because it's new. We don't see that in Hollywood.
Villain. Wasn't disrespectful, did a phenomenal job. And it made us be able to connect to our ancestors again, to our culture again, because it doesn't happen often here in America. So, to you in Ireland, not all of you, but those of you who are mocking us Irish Americans for claiming our Irish heritage and culture, don't tell me I'm not Irish. My ancestors did not survive famine, forced eviction, colonization, only to have us, their descendants, be mocked by the people who are sitting comfortably in our homes and in our homeland. You think that living on Irish soil makes you more Irish than me? Some of us, our bloodlines are older than your last name. Our bloodlines are older than any address that you or your family has in Ireland.
Well, now that she put it, now that she says it like that, definitely makes me look at things a little differently. Um, whoa, whoa, that sounds very familiar to the so-called Black American struggle. Very, very, very similar there. Whoa, whoa. I can understand her pain. I can, I can. As being a so-called Black American and hearing like even people that's Black British hearing them mock the struggles of us over here, or even certain people on the continent that I've or maybe look at us a certain way. Um, yeah, I understand. I actually really do. I understand. I understand.
And through generations, we never got to come back home. We didn't immigrate. We were exiled. Our land was stolen. Our language was beaten out of us. Our people were starved and scattered.
Hold on, real quick, guy. Hold on. Hold on. Mm, mm, mm. See, if you lacking some soul, you might not feel where I'm coming from, right? When you got a soul, sometimes it hit different. It's people they can hear stuff, and it's just like they might give you the blank stare, like, oh, okay. But then you got some people who got, they got a little more soul into them. So things hit a little different. When she said beaten out of us, the last names and yeah, it hits different. It hits different. It hits different. It hits different. It does.
And now we're being laughed at for trying to hold on to the one thing we had left, our identity. A
Ooh.
passport does not make you Irish. An address does not make you Irish. An accent does not make you Irish. And we are refusing to let anyone erase that from us. So before you come for the Irish living in diaspora, maybe check your own bloodline. You throwing shade are probably the colonizer and not the colonized.
Mm. Hold on, y'all. I'm sweating. Hold on real quick. Oh, I don't drop my rag. Hold on, y'all. I just took a walk. I'm sweating. She's going in. She's all passionate. She's saying some stuff that's. She said, maybe you're not a colonizer. Maybe you should check your bloodline. Whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, okay, so even when it comes to this is what's bothering me, right? When I was on TikTok, I said something about the movie Sinners, right? Just to relate to what she's saying, where I could relate to this. And in the movie Sinners, there was this one Choctaw Indian, and who was speaking, and he had these features that I pointed out. I'm like, and it wasn't like even the basis of the video. I just pointed it out that he had features that would be considered Negroid back then, and I had a lot of or enough Native Americans commenting saying, "Oh, stop trying to take our culture. Stop trying to." Blah, blah, blah. Like what? All I did was point out features. Like you act like people weren't mixed. You act like some people weren't classified as different. Like you act like what the heck? It was like an attack from certain people. And then the funny thing is, this one woman comments and she says that actor's name, and she said, no, he's from my tribe, and he is so-called black, and or what we back then would be known as Negroid, and he's mixed with other things, and so he's biracial, and he speaks our language the best, and he writes it the best, and so I was right about pointing out the features, but it's like people wanted to be so quick to make it as if I was trying to I don't know, I don't know. It was like on his defense for what? If I would have said, okay, he looks like he could have some Asian features, it would have been okay or something, and then someone probably would say, oh yeah, back around that time, there was Asians. So like, what was so wrong about me saying that? And it's like it comes down to makes me feel like, okay, how many tribes were already here, as the great Jane Elliott speaks about when she says there was many so-called black tribes, like she says African, that were already here 10,000 years before Columbus even came. So when you got the transatlantic slave trade happening, and so much history being lied about, and beaten into us, last names taken, and things just switched all of them, it's like I get what she's saying when she says culture's being stolen, and last names getting this, like, then y'all play this game with us like we're just crazy when we point something out, or when we try to reconnect with something. Then it's like you get mocked, you get disrespected. It's almost like, how dare you? It's like, oh, you're just an African, shut up, or you're just what we say you are. You don't try to trace nothing else, don't try to talk about nothing else, don't point out nothing else. And I feel like that's the similar frustration I'm seeing from her. That's the similar frustration that I'm seeing from her. And when that person commented on my TikTok and was like, and said that and pointed out who that guy was, it's like, yo, I was right the whole time. So yeah, so you got some Native Americans, so-called Native Americans, that were coming at me when the whole time I was right, just for pointing out a feature. Literally, that's just it. Just for pointing out a feature that would have, at that time, in a time where race was like everything, 1% rule, at a time where that would have been considered, like, he literally has broad nose and everything that they would consider, and I'm wrong for pointing that out. So then I had to get put in a box, and, oh, you're just trying to take our culture, and you just want to be us, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like these attacks out here.
While you're sitting on what you stole from us. So I'm not asking your permission. I am Irish. Genetically.
Rep that.
Historically. Ancestrally. No amount of mockery is ever going to change that. I carry Ireland in my blood, in my bones.
Let's go.
You just happen to stand on it. Check yourselves. So instead,
Uh, uh. So she's sitting here saying how much she loves Ireland and how much like at the end of the day you could take her away from Ireland. She might not have been raised in Ireland, but it's in her. It's within her. It's just like you could take somebody who might have a bloodline from Australia, and you could raise them, let's say somewhere in Russia, right? And they may have the bloodline of like the Aboriginals in Australia, and even though they were raised in Russia, they still gonna carry that within them. Even the generations down, it's still gonna be embedded in their spirit through that physical lineage. So that's pretty much what she's saying, and she's saying, you got colonizers who came in, who stole land and did all this and that, and been living there on the land, switched up names and stole land, did all to damn, did them dirty, did them real dirty, right? And y'all mocking them like, oh, y'all not really. So this gets a little deeper. Then this gets deeper. This gets deeper. So that the people, and not just the people once again who just want to get drunk on St. Patty's Day, the real people who really feel that connection to their homeland, uh, no, they don't deserve to get mocked because they were done dirty. They were they were done dirty. That's messed up. Because who was it that was first there? What, like the Celtic Britons or something like that, and then different tribes from like Anglo-Saxon tribes from, what was it, like Denmark and the Germany and the Netherlands or something, like these different tribes came together and then went, and it's just like so much happened where stuff was spread around different religions. I mean, it's all in Sinners. Like it's brief, but what Remick says in the movie Sinners, it really hits your soul, and you're like, oh man, this is crazy work. This is crazy work, you know. But yeah, that relation there, and then even me seeing the conversations that are still going on, still sparking as more and more people go watch the movie. Still the number one movie in America. I see a lot of people who are saying like, yeah, they who've traced their lineages and seen they have Irish great grandpas. You know what I'm saying? They got like you look at the Jamaicans and how they speak, and just influence. And personally, me, I've always had a love for Ireland for sure, for sure. Um, yeah, I do. What is it that I loved about Ireland? It's just for me always the beauty. I've always been into like different mythologies, like leprechauns and things like that. That definitely always drew me towards, I guess what you would say, the Druids were into or something. The magical side of Ireland. I'm sure I met an Irish girl, and she was really cool. Like I was working at a job, and there was like these foreign exchange students or whatever. They came through. They from Ireland, and one of them was from like Northern Ireland. And but long story short, I said something about leprechauns, and her friend tried to make a joke like, yeah, we have a bunch of leprechauns, just da da da. But I'm like, nah, I didn't mean to be funny. Like I'm just saying, like that's what I'm into. Like I'm into that, and it just so happens that a lot of that lore comes from Ireland. And her friend got it though. Her friend was like, "Yeah, you should definitely go check out such and such, or go to the countryside." Like I'm just into things like that. That's just who I am. I was always into like Harry Potter and stuff like that. That's just me, right? So Ireland, and then looking at the cliffs of Ireland, and I love the harp. I love the different sounds that they got there, the folk music. Like I've always been into stuff. Like I love the Celtic goddesses with the long red hair. I mean, something about that just do something to my spirit. Like I just love that. That's I'm into that. It's just I'm into it, right? So I always had that attraction, like there, um, even London, like places like London, but that really come from mostly that come from like Harry Potter. I'm not gonna lie, like most of that, that's really where that come from. But um, yeah, that's just it's just I had a love. I just have a love for the culture, and I don't drink or anything like that. My best friend, he's Irish. He's a drinker, but he would be like the stereotypical red hair, drinker, like all that. But um, other than that, like I said, I just this just the interest. I definitely always have a respect for the culture, and just when I did learn about like the indentured servants a long time ago, and learned about what they went through, it definitely made me look at things even more differently. It made me more okay. I know where it really come from too. I don't know how I didn't mention her yet. but my music teacher, who actually even got me into Harry Potter, um, her name was Mrs. Cahill, rest her soul. She was my third, fourth grade teacher. No, actually, second grade teacher. I'm all over the place, but second grade teacher, music teacher, and she's the one who like she would play. She was just so creative, like the Nightmare Before Christmas. She had long red hair. The Nightmare Before Christmas, and she was the one who really got me into like big into Halloween, and like I said, a Harry Potter poster when it first came out, and she would talk about the Blarney Stone and going upside down and kissing it, and like so that's really a lot where that's rooted at too. Shout out to Mrs. Cahill, rest up. But with that being said, I'm gonna wrap this video up and say shout out to everybody who has who just feels connected to their ancestors, and don't let anyone belittle you. I don't care where you're from. If you got that connection to your ancestors and you love it and you feel it in your spirit, ride with that. Ride with that. Don't let people belittle you. Don't let people mock you, and don't let people try to cut you off from your birthright. Okay. So with that being said, much love to you all. I'll be back with more soon. See ya.